delighted today to have one of my closest friends in the whole world here to talk about her amazing new company, the Conscious Cake Company. Her name is Danica Apolline, and hi Danica.
Hello Kaz, how you going?
Hey. So I know obviously all about the Conscious Cake Company, and I've eaten lots of cakes this week. But yeah, I thought it would be really great to share a bit about what the Conscious Cake Company is with our audience at
Thank you. Well, the Conscious Cake Company, basically we make cakes that are healthy. We make cakes that are organic, that are free from cane sugar, so there's no cane sugar in them. There's no wheat, we don't use any wheat flour, and there's no dairy, so they're completely vegan.
Wow.
And also, all the cakes are blessed with love.
That's amazing. And you put some other special ingredients in, don't you?
I do.
Tell me about those.
So there's a few special ingredients, things like I use a tiny bit of hemp flour as one of the flours in there, and I think hemp's a really amazing flour in terms of our health. I also work with colour essences, so there's colour essences going into the cake which work with our energy field to help bring our vibrations to a really great place. I also bless every cake with love, as I've already said. I work with something called theta healing. I use unconditional love to make a wish for anyone who eats the cake that they receive all the health, the happiness, the love, the joy, the abundance, and whatever else they might need in their lives.
And I know you do work with you have a few ranges, and one of them is the Chakra range. So maybe explain what a chakra is for people who might not know, and tell me about that. What does that mean?
That was my first range, and I basically work with chakras which are balls of energy. I imagine them like buttons going up the body, starting with the root at the bottom of the spine, going all the way up to the crown. And historically and conventionally, 7 chakras are said to exist, and each chakra corresponds with a different aspect of our life. So I work with 8 chakras rather than 7 because I'm quite interested in the work of Pythagoras, who was an ancient teacher in ancient Greece, and he was a mathematician, a scientist, a musician, and he was the teacher who discovered octaves musically. And if you move from a 7-note scale to an 8-note scale, what you have is an octave, and that's perfect. That creates a harmony. So I believe that we've got an 8th chakra which sits above the heart here, at the thymus gland, which connects with the immune system in the body. And it's all about connection. And I think by adding that one in, we create a perfect octave in terms of our chakras. So I love it.
Wow. And what's your other range?
And I've got superfoods range where I blend superfoods and also some herbs that bring fantastic healing properties to our health. And there's a kids range too.
So it's called the Conscious Cake Company, and someone asked me this question recently on Facebook, and I think I did an okay job at answering it. But what makes these cakes conscious? So it's not just that they're healthy, and obviously we talked a bit about the healing and the chakra work, but what else makes this a conscious cake?
Well, I wanted to build a business that makes a difference in the world. I'm part of what I think you're part of too. There's this movement of those of us who think, do you know what? We live in a beautiful world, and it's amazing, and life's amazing, and humanity is amazing. And actually, we want to be part of a movement that's about spreading love and bringing consciousness and insight and togetherness and connection with those of us who really care. So I'm building this business as a profit-making business. I want it to be a success in terms of being profit-making and being able to grow in that way. But for me, the important thing is that once salaries are covered and the business costs are covered in terms of looking after business needs and growth, then rather than having the remaining profit just sitting in a bank account making money for a few people, not really doing very much. For me, that money is an opportunity to help other people. So all of the money that we don't need ourselves, as far as I'm concerned, is to be given to make a difference to the lives of others, on a local basis, on a global basis, because for me that money is for sharing. And also there's like, for me it's really important as well that people who work within the business are paid properly. Because one of the things that really I find difficult to get my head around is that you can have massive global companies. I know you get this because we've talked about loads, but you get massive global companies who are making like gazillions, and yet the people at the bottom rung in their businesses have to turn to their governments to top up their income because they're not earning enough. That there's something that's really warped to me about that. So I'm also setting the lowest salary above the point at which anyone has to claim, or the full-time salary of being anything above the income level that someone would need to ask for money for any government to top up their income.
Because the thing with that, what's crazy is if you don't do that, it doesn't make business sense anyway. It's not just ethical. I mean, people only feel empowered and respected and valued. So, it makes business sense as well as being the right thing to do.
And one of the arguments that I come across that I really kind of resonate with is that if we pay people more, they will have more money to spend and invest in, kind of getting the things they need in their life. So actually it helps economies because what they're doing is having more money to spend, and that really resonates. It builds economies to do that. It doesn't cost businesses, it helps businesses to grow. The more that we give, the more we get back.
And there are a few other things I think, like the packaging is environmentally friendly.
Just in the process of developing packaging and looking at ways of making packaging so that it's completely compostable and made from plant-based materials. We're just in the process of crowdfunding, getting ready to crowdfund to open our first cafe in London. And every aspect of how that cafe is developed, from the paints that are used on the walls through to the flooring, the decor, everything will be sourced in an environmentally conscious way. So we're using environmental paints, water-based and made from plant materials, and there'll be plenty of food-based products. So we want to show that you can use the resources that are available to you in ways that they're about loving the planet and loving us and everyone in between.
And so tell me, there must be, obviously you've got a lot on with just what you're talking about now, but are there plans for other, expanding beyond cakes, or can you let us into any secrets for future expansion?
I think it's fair to say that we're not just looking at working with cakes, but we're just we're going to take it in a whole other direction too. So I'm really lucky to have a wonderful friend on board with this, a woman called Kerry Moss, who is hugely experienced in the field, and it just has the biggest, most beautiful heart. She's just a wonderful, wonderful person. So it's amazing to work with someone who I really adore. And
the next one is MasterChef.
And she has won MasterChef, so she's which is amazing. Yeah. But because and that's one of the things that we're looking at together, looking at the ways in which we can kind of take it beyond just cake. Cake's a good place to start.
Yeah, cake is a very good place to start. So we've known each other for 12 years now, and since day one, you've always been someone who's been an inspiration to me in this field. You've always made ethical choices in terms of the things that you bought, the toiletries you use, the products you use in the house, all of that kind of stuff. And so it doesn't surprise me that we're at this point with the Conscious Cake Company. But how did it start? Tell us a bit about where the idea was born.
It's actually quite a funny story, because I didn't set out to be a cake baker, and you know this about me. I've done so many things over the years, but I haven't ever been trained. in baking or catering. I would make cakes for my son, because I don't give him cane sugar at all. And I wanted him to be able to have sweet treats, and I, made cakes for friends, but wanted to make them in ways that were healthy. And so just kind of, potter with my baking. And I've made a few cakes, and people had started to say, have you ever thought about doing this for a living? And and I was always like, no, I'm really not a baker, because I'd spent so many years, and you've seen me do this over the years, working as a healer and as a teacher, teaching people healing. I'm a writer too, as you know, and really put a lot of effort and energy into that, and created and done some amazing projects, really, and been part of some amazing projects, and was able to kind of pull in my training background to help people to learn about energy and stuff in a new way. But for some reason, even though I've been really well respected in my work by those who've experienced learning from me, I seem to have worked with a lot of people who perhaps have the biggest hearts but not necessarily a lot of cash. So I've actually been have been living with not very much money myself. And there was a point at which I'd kind of tried all the different avenues I could to shift my own income level. And then I had this amazing moment one weekend where I just sat down and thought, you know what, I've tried everything I can think of. I've exhausted all avenues. I've looked at my own limiting beliefs. I've done practical stuff and, marketing and all sorts of stuff. But for some reason, I still wasn't kind of moving forward. And I just kind of let go. I just was like, you know what, I can't think of anything else. And that's it. And I just had this amazing weekend that I had to myself, where suddenly I saw this vision. I'd been doing a lot of meditating, and suddenly in meditation just saw this vision. Saw the logo, the chakra range, the flavours, why it was important, how everything I'd been doing in terms of healing and talking about energy, talking about organic and healthy food, why that's important for ourselves and for the planet, talking about everything from what happens when we bless food, and talking about, showing about the work of Masaru Emoto, who's a Japanese scientist who shows what happens when we bless food or water, actually, with love.
It's amazing.
It's amazing, totally amazing.
Yeah.
So, and all my stuff about chemical-free toiletries, which you mentioned, and also my belief that we can change the world purely by how we spend our money. I think money is our most powerful tool. It's more powerful than voting in a ballot box.
It is our vote.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really happy that we've had this conversation and that we can share it with the readers of our site, because I think, what we're trying to do with Living Ethical is share that message, exactly that message. We have a choice, and, the thing that we're trying to get across with Living Ethical is it doesn't need to be difficult. Some people, I think we have to change everything. I mean, you're one of those people who has changed everything. And so when I said, you've been an inspiration, but also sometimes it's intimidating. It's scary to think, I don't know if I want to give up all my fancy shampoos and all of that. So the idea that you can be ethical and eat cake, for me, it's just been amazing. So I'm so happy. And thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much. And can I just say as well, Kaz, I just think it's so awesome that you're doing what you're doing. I've watched you, you've watched me on my journey, I've been watching you on yours, and what an awesome, inspiring, amazing thing that you're doing. And, and also making it real, because, you joked about how I am a bit like I've done everything. But it is hard sometimes to make those choices. And actually, sometimes it is about the little things, and I think you're just the perfect voice for that. You and Joanne, just to share what it is that your experiences of making that transition, and what works for you, and what doesn't work easily.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.